This is the chaos scenario that I told everyone about when these two teams previously met, which is Duke getting to the ACC championship game and winning the ACC championship game as a 5-loss team. They are not going to be one of the top 5 conference champions like I talked about at the beginning of the show. They simply will not be ranked higher than JMU, North Texas, if both of those teams win.
It's the thrill of it, Argentine again.
Welcome back to the Cover Story Podcast. I'm Jack and he's Mac, and we're on a never-ending quest to win you some racks. This is episode 9. It's conference championship week in college football. We're coming off a scorching Saturday. We'll talk about it here shortly. But you know, this is going to be a very college football heavy episode. We are going to touch on some world footy. We're going to touch on the NFL, of course. But it's championship week, major discourse in the college football playoff rankings, the selections that came out this past week on Tuesday. Before we dive into that, though, I think we have to touch on something major that came out of our airwaves this week. Mac, why don't you let the people in on what shouldn't be a secret anymore?
That is correct. The Cover Crew has officially launched here at the Cover Story, where our premium picks are now live and you can be able to sign up. We have the links all over our socials, on YouTube, everything like that. But we have come off to a resounding start since going live there. For all of our members that have joined, they are feasting on the picks that we've been able to provide over the last, 3 days since we've gone live now. And as you can tell, for those that follow us on our socials, as you can see, we still give out free picks every day. We're just going down to at least 1, maybe 2, depending on, what kind of sports are going on. But if you're looking to be able to hop on the bandwagon and start making some serious coin, we are going to be providing our exclusives through the Cover Crew channel itself. So there you'll be able to see exclusive analytics, not only of our picks, but kind of what we're thinking behind them, the why behind them, and then, of course, giving you all the ammo you need to be able to tail responsibly or fade if you dare. So very exciting times. That is live. We still have a little bit, it's very limited now for founding member rates. Those have been picking up over the last day or two. So I think at this point, there's maybe 5, if not 7, last time I checked, opening spots left. So if you want to take advantage of that rate, half off essentially per month of what you'd be paying normally, can't recommend it enough. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's amazing. We've already seen some great responses from the people too. So shout out to the Cover Crew, the founding members, and all you listeners out there. But yeah, like Max said, we're still going to offer some free plays throughout the days, throughout the weeks. But there's going to be more analysis, more in-depth picks, more parlays, all that good stuff is going to be in the premium section on Discord. So be on the lookout for how you can sign up for that all over our socials. And we'll have a link in the show notes to this as well as you're listening on Thursday. Okay.
Yeah. And one last thing, actually, just to mention too, and I think for those that have been following us on social media, you probably see it quite often. And I think I can just say for myself personally here, I've made probably the most money in the last 2 months on live betting, specifically even live drive betting, than I have on my pre-kickoff, pre-tip-off, all those kind of bets. So if you're looking to take advantage of that, because again, that has been my strong suit. That's where, again, I've made the most money. The $52,000 parlay was a live bet. I've hit a couple $15,000 and $14,000 live bets on that in the last 2 weeks. Those are all going to be on our Discord through the Cover Crew. So if you really want to be able to take advantage, especially of like what we're seeing while watching these games, highly recommend that. That's where we post everything there. And it's been a good time. It's been a lot of fun so far the last couple of days.
Yeah, it's only going to get better because, like we said, it's championship weekend in college football. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't start a quick little recap with the biggest news in college football, and that is Lane Kiffin. I told you last week on the show, which believe me, it was not a bold take at all, but I said, I'm done with the Fugazi. Lane Kiffin's going to LSU. It's official. 7 years, $91 million. But if you ask him, he didn't ask his agent about the money. He was just looking to hear about the plan and about the football. So, yeah, doesn't care about the money, although $91 million sounds pretty good if you ask me. Wild story, though. Obviously, if you've been living under a rock, you would know that he was basically the LSU coach for like almost 2 weeks. And he was like, no, I want to coach in the Egg Bowl because, want to bring this team to the playoff, want to be able to take them as far as we can. Best season in Ole Miss history. First time they've ever had 11 regular season wins. The chancellor of the school, the AD, they were like, well, no, we don't want you to continue to prove how good you are, get more, deep in with the players, have them leave, yada, yada. But also I think they were like, well, we kind of want to win the Egg Bowl so that way we can solidify our college football playoff spot, more revenue for the university, first time they've ever made the playoff. So it was a whole mess, disaster. But he's headed to LSU, obviously. The defensive coordinator there for Ole Miss is going to be the coach now. I believe they're going to make him the full-time job there too. There's a lot going on in Oxford, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Mac, I know you're not a huge Lane Kiffin fan, so I'll let you riff for a little bit here on your thoughts on the whole Kiffin saga.
Yeah, I can go on a tangent here. I'll make it quick. I couldn't be more proud of Ole Miss for not allowing him to continue his reign at Ole Miss, because think of it like this, right? If I was an employer and my employee essentially tells me, hey, I'm taking my talents over to your biggest competitor, but I'd like to finish out my time here for the remainder of the financial year. Who in the right mind would say, yeah, that's totally fine? Or would they say, no, pack your shit and get out? Because why on earth, what is that? The ego of Lane Kiffin blows my mind that he thinks his players are going to be looking at this and saying, oh my God, I'm going to fall on the sword for the remainder of this season because Lane Kiffin's not going to be coaching next year. We have we could potentially have 3, maybe 4 more games left. We're going to lay it all down. No, absolutely not. The guy's a clown. And this entire saga did nothing but put a cloud over the entire school and the football program in itself. So I'm glad Ole Miss didn't let him stay. And I cannot wait for LSU and Ole Miss to play next year, because I think that's going to be the opposite of effect of what Lane think he was going to be giving his players, because those Ole Miss players are going to want to kill some people in that one, and they're going to want to go to Lane's face after the game after a win. So, yeah, he's a clown. LSU, sure, you're going to get more money. Like, we'll see what you do there. In all honesty, I bet there's no way he has no ambition to go to the NFL, and I think if he does, it's going to be terrible. He's not a good coach. He's just an act. Yeah, fuck that guy.
Well, I mean, you called him a clown. I'll call him a joker because he's an enigma and he causes chaos, and that's why I love him. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. He doesn't care. He's purely going for Lane Kiffin. The guy wins football games, and that's all LSU cares about. So they're going to obviously sign him. He has been to the NFL, if you remember. He was the head coach of the Raiders for a hot second. That was a disaster.
Oh, my God. Shocker. Yeah,
but,
that's right.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he does. I think he was at Tennessee for a season, and then he left. The Raiders fired him. Like, Al Davis had like a PowerPoint. It was a mess. But that's what he does. He takes you to new heights, and then when another opportunity, a better opportunity for him arises, he dips out. That's what he does, but he causes chaos. The coaching carousel in college football is rapidly spinning now. We're going to talk about some other landing spots and some other head coaches on the move, one of which I've been touting very heavily for a while, a little tease there. But yeah, I mean, he's going to have $25 million to build a roster, so I think it's going to be insane to see what he does and just create pure free agency in college football if it doesn't already really exist. But we're going to get to more college football here in a second. Another recap of the weekend here. We survived Thanksgiving. I'll put it that way. It was very much a roller coaster. You touched on some of those live drive parlay bets we had, live drive bets. A plus 500 Chase Brown catch on the final drive of that Bengals Ravens game really saved the day for us. I will say.
Not to mention also the drive after that for the Ravens, hitting a Ravens to convert a fourth down at plus 320.
Yes.
So those two after Thanksgiving Thursday, because the only thing we hit that Thursday that we gave to the people, our free picks, was our 2-unit teaser, if I'm not mistaken, where we essentially had bet all in favored teams to not get blown out. In fact, they all won, which could you imagine if we had picked those three teams to win? My God. But
yeah, well, I did tell you to sprinkle the Bengals, so hopefully you did that.
You did.
But
that you did.
Yeah, so we played it safe. That 2-unit did hit. Black Friday, dreadful, abysmal game. We'll talk about how bad the Eagles have been. But a 4-0 sweep on Saturday in college football, that was massive. Threaded the needle in that Iron Bowl. That was just an absolute elite play. And it was a bit of an up and down Sunday. And then Monday's game was wild. I mean, the Patriots were just laying the wood. But only one winning slip to break even for that. So got to take some breath, reset. But the beauty is it's championship week. We're seeing college football very well right now. Knock on wood if you're with me. And yeah, we're gonna take that into the weekend. But before we do so, let's take it across the pond. Where are we going in the global footy world for this weekend's picks?
Yeah, well, like you said, Jack, there's so much exciting college football going on that this is going to be a college football heavy show, especially because, quite frankly, college football is the one that's really been our most profitable sport in the last, I don't even know how long. So, we're going to be putting a lot of our money on college football, but we're going to sprinkle some on European footy. Responsibly, of course. Now, what I'm looking at is this is a big away weekend. A lot of the clubs I'm looking at that I want to be betting on are all playing away, which what I'm seeing is some pretty decent lines. Now, keep in mind, right? Keep in mind, Jesus. Keep in mind, as we are recording, right, we're looking at matches that are 3, potentially 4 days out, or 2 days out, if you will. And so a lot could change. Lineups are going to be shifted because we are heading into our heavy winter season to where a lot of these clubs are playing more than one match a week. So we see a lot of lineup rotation in these matches. Makes it a lot more difficult to call. So the 6 that I actually have on the board, I'm going to talk about 2 of them. One is Arsenal playing at Aston Villa here in England. I don't know why I did an accent. They're English clubs. But for this one in particular, right, if you're following the Premier League, Arsenal, this is the best Arsenal squad we have seen since the Invincibles. Big reason for that is they got depth. And if you look at their last 5, 6, 10 years, maybe even more than that, that was the biggest thing they had. They did not have. If any of their players went down, they had immediately a massive gap. So we saw in the last week or so, their core center back duo, Gabriel and Saliba, both went down with injuries. Today, or I should say Wednesday, we saw kind of the first big test without that duo, and they have depth. Their 2 backups that were playing, Mosquera and Hincapi, showed up. They looked extremely strong in the back. Not only that, Martin Odegaard is now back as well. Gyökeres is back. He got subbed in later in the match as well. But with this depth, I think they have a huge opportunity to continue and extend their lead in the Premier League because they're going against an Aston Villa side that have completely turned it around. Very slow start to the year. They've now won their last 6 matches. They had a resounding win on Wednesday recently, yesterday, if you're listening to this as on Thursday, where they had beat Brighton 4-0, Brighton, I believe. Yes, Brighton 4-0. Brighton went up 2-0. They came back, went up 4-2, let in a goal shortly at the end to win 4-3. But this Aston Villa team, Unai Emery has really kind of gotten things back on track. They look very dangerous. They're playing at home at Villa Park. Very tough matchups. I think that's why we're seeing this line at -115 for Arsenal. So I really like that. I would even recommend you could do that straight up. But I chase parlays. It's what I do.
As always.
Now, to not go too crazy, I'm just going to pair it with one other match. And we're going to travel over to Italy for this one. And that's going to be Atalanta playing at Verona. Atalanta, again, very slow start. Have not had the top 4 Champions League kind of run that we typically see and with this team in recent years. They're sitting middle of the table, but they also have a bit of a resurgence right now. They've won their last 3 matches. They had a resounding win against Genoa in the Coppa Italia on Wednesday or yesterday, if you will. And so they are looking like they're back in form. And in my opinion, too, it's because the Nigerian Lookman is starting to fire on all cylinders. 2 goals in his last 2 matches. And I think they're going to go to the last place in Serie A, Verona, and get a win there at -150 because they recently played another relegation team, Fiorentina, beat them 2-0. And so defensively, they're starting to look very sound. Offensively, they have the talent there, especially that front 3. So I think they are going to be able to get a dub at Verona. And that, if you parlay those together, that's a nice plus 211 as of now. So again, I say this in the cover crew in our chat. I've said this in our podcast. Especially with this sport, you have to be able to make sure you're looking at the lineups if you follow these teams at all. If you don't follow them, you're going off what I say. Wait until Saturday when I'm going to be placing these bets and giving it. I'm going to have this be my free pick on Saturday, so I will post this to show for those that don't listen to this podcast. But very excited about that. I think that's very good. I'm going to be doing a bit more. Definitely going to be doing some props as well, so be on the lookout for those. But those are going to be my 2 picks, my duo, if you will, for this weekend, both on Saturday. So Arsenal to beat Aston Villa at Villa, Atalanta to beat Verona at Verona for parlay a plus 211 as of today.
Okay, so the only thing I have to contribute to that is a couple things. One, Arsenal Invincibles. Does that have Thierry Henry? Was that when he was there? No, we're shaking our head. No, he is.
No, that is.
Okay.
So this is the best club since then, and that was the years with Thierry Henry, Patrick Vieira. I mean, these are the guys
Vince
that would
Papali,
battle.
he was invincible.
That's a good reference.
Yeah, and that's the Italians, so that's how you get the Atlanta.
Okay.
So the Vince Papali.
You know what? That was a
parlay.
nice little. You start here and you get there. That was a good connection on that one.
That's
so
what I do.
That.
When you're marinating all the footy,
too.
I'm just getting through lines there, dude. I'm just getting ready for the references. But yeah, love it.
Good. Yeah, good call out though. But again, I mean, I hate to admit it because obviously, as a Man United supporter, but at the same time, if I'm going to pick a club to win this league, it has to be someone that's not Man City. It has to be someone that's not Liverpool.
Boof, boy, did they stink.
God forbid Chelsea's even in that mix these days after that abysmal match against Leeds on Wednesday or yesterday. But Arsenal, I think they're winning the whole thing. I think they're going to win this one because they have to extend those points. City is starting to get back in form, so they know this is a big matchup for them. So that's those are my picks. Excited about it. But obviously, we got a big Saturday because let's be honest. These footy matches are not what's going to get us antsy and excited the night before because we got some games to be looking forward to. And not only that, they're starting on Friday.
Ooh,
so,
that they are.
I mean, so walk me through this, Jack, because we got championships starting now on Friday for us. So obviously it's not some of the big conferences, if you will, but some big matchups.
Yes. I before we touch on that, because they may not be the big conferences, but they're going to be the ones that are probably most watched. And that is the Sunbelt and the American. We're going to jump into them in a second, but to set the stage, want to touch on this past week's rankings, just so everyone knows what the situation is going into championship weekend. Top 4 pretty much all staying the same. You have number 1 Ohio State. Number 2, Indiana. They're going to meet in the Big Ten Championship. We'll talk about that game. Number 3, Georgia. Number 4, Texas Tech. Then going down the line here, number 5, Oregon. Number 6, Ole Miss. We've touched on them at length. They will be without Lane Kiffin, obviously. Texas A&M at number 7. Oklahoma, number 8. Alabama, number 9. And Notre Dame, number 10. So why is that significant that Notre Dame is 10th? That is because that is the bubble spot, if you will. It's probably the at-large bid that could get bumped depending on how this weekend's going to go. Notre Dame doesn't play in a conference, as many of you know. If you didn't know that, they do not play in a conference. They are independent, so they will not be in a conference championship game this weekend, so they are inactive. And that could hurt them because there is a lot of chaos scenarios, one of which I told you all about maybe a month ago in the ACC. We'll touch on why that could impact not only Notre Dame, but also Miami. A lot of folks are wishing the Canes were in there as they already beat Notre Dame, but Notre Dame's ranked ahead of them. So lots of chaos going on. There's 2 at-large bids that I didn't touch on. Obviously, you have 11 and 12. Those are going to be conference champions, number 4 and number 5. So there are the 5 best conference champions. We've talked about this at large or at nauseum, I guess I would say, because at large is the other remaining 7 seeds. But the 5 best conference champions get auto bids, and the other 7 get the at-large bids. Now, why are we talking about at-large bids? Why are we talking about conference championships? Because you would assume they would all be Power 4 conferences. Mm-hmm. But as we turn to Friday's games featuring the Dukes of James Madison against Troy in the Sunbelt Championship, James Madison minus 23.5, over under 48.5. I've been on this team, Mac. I've been on this team. They're currently ranked 25th. They finally put them in, so they could jump.
Yeah.
They're 11-1, could be a 12-1 conference champion. Bob Chesney, talked about him. His meteoric rise continues. He's headed west. He's going to UCLA, become the new head coach of the Bruins out there. But he is going to be allowed to coach the conference championship game. And I think it's because if they win, and they might get a little help, they will be in the college football playoff. And I don't think James Madison wants to trot out, whatever coordinator that they have that would potentially replace him. And they're totally in agreement. Keep doing your thing, Bob. They're very thankful for his couple of years that he's had there. And I think if they don't get in, I don't think he'll coach the bowl game, but that's not the point, because we're going to take the Dukes, and they're going for style points. So I think they're going to whomp Troy. They'll give me the 23.5. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a big number, but they're going to do it.
Well, we've done it before, and it's hit. So
yeah. And so how they get in, what's their help? They're going to need some help from Texas Tech, and they're going to need some help from Duke. And we talked about the Duke chaos scenario in the ACC. We're almost there. It's almost to completion. We'll touch on the ACC championship game, but if you are a JMU Dukes fan, you are obviously rooting for a win on Friday, and you are rooting for Texas Tech to beat BYU and Duke to beat Virginia. That BYU Texas Tech game is going to play a big factor in the Notre Dame side as well. But that's our first game on Friday. First group of 5 team that's really going to be trying to crack the college football playoff. And that would bring us to the American Conference, unless you got anything on the Dukes and against the Troy Trojans there.
No, I mean, all I know is that, what was it? Maybe 3 weeks ago, you told me, and you talked about this, that we're taking a 20 plus or whatever line it was for JMU. And I looked at you like you were crazy, but we tailed anyways. And for those that follow social, you saw our reaction to it, and it hit with with flying colors. So I am all for
53-3 final or something like that, 53-10.
Yeah. And also, like, who doesn't love, especially on our Friday night, betting on a heavy line like that? Because we're just going to be watching this game, and we're going to be rooting for touchdowns. And there is just nothing more electric than that. So I am looking forward to that, because that's going to be a blast.
Yeah. And if you like rooting for touchdowns, boy, are you going to like the American Championship game, because number 24 North Texas minus 2.5 against number 22 Lane. The Green Wave is going to look to try to upset North Texas, upset via the spread here, but not in the rankings, because obviously it's 24 versus 20, over under 66.5. And as you know, North Texas, offensive juggernaut. We've taken overs in their game. We've taken their team totals over. They are just an offensive freaking powerhouse. But there's also some little coach fiasco going on in this one too, because Tulane head coach John Sumrall has taken the Florida job. He's going to be coaching the Tulane game as well. He's already been interviewed, and he's like, no, it's a lot of time on the phone. I love it. I'm doing 2 jobs. It's a lot of hard work. No, that cannot be good for game planning. I hate to say it.
No.
This guy's got portal to worry about. He's got signing day that just happened. Early signings day is open. So I don't think that bodes well for the Green Wave of Tulane. North Texas, absolutely bananas on offense. Their quarterback, Drew Mestamaker, is only 170 yards away from 4,000 on the season. He's thrown for 29 TDs. He's only got 4 interceptions. If North Texas wins this game, I think they're in as the group of 5 team. I think they would jump JMU. Yeah. So that's why I said JMU needs some help. North Texas, on the other hand, I think they're in with a win. They will be the lone group of 5 team. As much as I love to ride the Dukes, I just think their strength of schedule. JMU's played like one team that's in like Power 5. So yeah, I think the Mean Green of North Texas. A lot of green in this American Championship game. Mean Green versus Green Wave. But yes, we're gonna take North Texas to cover the 2.5.
Yeah, it seems easy.
Yeah, I think there's just way too much on the line for them, and they've been able to cover and they've been able to put up a lot of points. I think just out of pure fun and chaos, 66.5 sounds like a fantastic number to go after. You know what we would need in order to hit the over?
How many touchdowns?
No, how many points?
Well, yeah, I mean, we need 67 points.
6-7.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what the kids are doing. We're trying to appease to the youth here.
Yes,
Except the 21-year-old youths that can gamble
21
responsibly.
and up, 21 and up youths.
Yeah. But yeah, I think why not root for a boatload of points? Root it for them in the JMU game, specifically for the Dukes. Root for it in this one. 66.5. Love it. North Texas -2.5. Love it. They win. They'll be in. Hopefully with the JMU win and some games on Saturday, they'll be in as well.
Are these games around the same time, or is one after the other?
I believe it's like a 7 and 9 start. Let me just double check that for you. Why don't you throw us to the Saturday slates here while
you're looking that up.
Yeah.
Just more so like thinking like
7 and 8.
Okay. All right. So then you overlap
Eastern
a little bit.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, that is going to be a fun Friday night, though. So looking forward to that. But of course, Saturday is the creme de la creme, right? Saturday is the day. We're going to wake up Saturday morning. I'm not going to be thinking about Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, Serie A, Liga Portugal.
Definitely not League One. Definitely not League One.
League One. I'm going to be thinking about Saturday, college football championship day, because we have some electric and absolute enticing games to be able to watch and bet on here. So we'll kick things off, though, of course, because we're going to have to go to the Big 12 championship here. And if you would have told me going into this year that the Big 12 championship would be 11th ranked BYU versus number 4 Texas Tech, I would have been a little bit head scratcher there. Not going to lie.
Would you have been able to tell me that BYU was in the Big 12?
I was about to say, scratch that, because I just realized OU and Texas are in the SEC. So this is why Jack is the college football guru and I am not. So maybe this does make sense on paper. I don't know. But nonetheless, very exciting matchup. We see Texas Tech is favored at 12.5 with an over-under of 49.5. They have played earlier this year. Mm-hmm. So that I do know, where Tech won 29-7. But Jack, any other new insights here? Because that line is a little scary, not going to lie.
Yeah, I mean, you don't usually see a Power 5 championship game, or Power 4, I guess now I should say, with a double-digit spread. But we have seen this matchup before. This does happen quite often, though, where we do see teams play once again for a conference championship. Yeah, I mean, and if we've talked about Coach Carousel, these two guys are staying. So McGuire at Texas Tech, he got a 7-year extension, so clearly they like what's going on there. We've talked a ton about the oil money that's funding the NIL at Texas Tech. McGuire's going to get a little nice chunk of that too. I think we're waiting on some numbers on what that could be, but imagine he's getting paid at least $7-8 million probably. And Kalani Sitake for BYU, he's had a whirlwind of a week, because apparently he was supposed to be the Penn State coach, and then a bunch of big donors from the BYU side of things came in and they ponied up some cash. The church let him pay him. So, that's going to be something to look out for. The same guy that helped pay for the 5-star recruit in basketball is funding the football team as well.
Wow.
And I think he's like okay to pay the coach directly. It's a little day and age. It's a little interesting, but he went out and he got an extension as well. The details on that still haven't come out as of Wednesday night when we're recording this, but these two guys are staying. So we could see this matchup for a good while in the Big 12, which is fun to hear. As you said, some of the Big 12 powerhouses like OU and Texas are no longer there. But yeah, I think it I think is going to be very similar to what we saw a few weeks ago or, a month ago about the Texas Tech defense is just so good. They're so fast on the outside. They have guys that can rush the passer. And I think it's going to be pretty unfortunate for BYU because, they're going to have 2 losses on the season if they do lose this game, and they're both going to be to Texas Tech. So it's going to be hard to, justify getting into the playoff when it's like, well, you had a chance to beat the team that beat you and win the championship and get an automatic bid, but you lost. So I don't know why the committee would then try to bump BYU up over some of those idle teams. But if they were to win, touched on this a little bit earlier, that puts the committee in a very tough spot to move Notre Dame out because you can't tell me Texas Tech is going to fall all the way from 4 to 11 after losing to BYU because common opponent, they beat each other. So I think that would be a scenario where Notre Dame gets bounced. So if you're not a fan of the Irish, you're going to be rooting for BYU in this game. But I think Texas Tech is going to be too much. I actually like them to cover too. I think 12.5 is a number that they can get to. And I'm going to go under 49.5 too. I think BYU is going to struggle to move the ball. We saw it the last time they played earlier this year. They scored 7 points. So not a crazy scenario, but I think Tech's going to get the win and that'll secure their bye and they'll be in the top 4.
Very nice. Well, yeah, we do like that, especially the fact that their last game, looking at the over-under here, was only 38, and they're giving them basically 50 at this point. So I love both those picks, even at 12.5. So if we think Tech can win by 2 touchdowns and hit that under, that actually seems very plausible. So I'm all for that. But, of course, kind of revert back to what I said earlier, right? If someone were to tell me this lineup for the SEC championship, I would have said, tell me something I don't know. Because we're now looking at, of course, number 4, Georgia, playing against number 9, Alabama, with an over-under of 47.5. Jack, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this one is same scenario. We saw this game happen already. Bama won 24-21 in Athens, pretty tough place to play. So shout out to Ty Simpson and the gang for going to that. Plus, I think we were on Georgia in that game, so egg on our face. But the Bulldogs are getting 2.5 in this one. So they're, the number 4 team in the country, Bama number 9. Obviously, Georgia's only loss is to Alabama. Alabama has the 2 losses, the first of which, everyone knows, first week of the year against Florida State. And then they had the loss to Oklahoma. So, this one's interesting to me because when you look at the game in Athens earlier this year, Ty Simpson threw for over 275 yards. He had 2 touchdowns in the air, 1 on the ground. Gunnar Stockton for Georgia only amassed 130 passing yards. So they struggled to move the ball. Alabama was 13 for 19 on 3rd down. Georgia 2 for 8. So, Georgia, Kirby Smart, they're typically known for stout defense, couldn't get off the field. But the big number, 6 penalties, 68 yards for Georgia. Bama only 4 penalties for 16 yards, which I don't even know how you amass 4 penalties and get 16 yards. Those numbers just don't really add up. They got to be some weird holding calls on offensive plays that move the ball back. But for those of you that want chaos in the college football landscape here in the final week of the season, regular season, I should say championship week, whatever, Mac, which I know you do, you're going to be wanting Bama to win this game because if they do, they would now have 2 wins over Georgia. Georgia would be, a 2-loss team, but both to Alabama, which is a playoff team and SEC champion. So you probably have to keep Georgia in, right? Because that's their 2 losses. That's probably the best 2-loss resume if you only lose to the SEC champion twice, 1 on a neutral field. So they're probably staying in. So that would cause a little bit of chaos, shuffle a lot of the order there. But I'm going to be Scrooge McDuck here. You got the Christmas tree in the background for those of you watching on YouTube. I think Georgia's going to win this game. It means Kirby can go eliminate Alabama. If Alabama loses, I think they're out. That would be 3 losses. Georgia would have, avenged the earlier loss. So I think that sends Alabama home. We'll touch on how a 3-loss team could potentially sneak in. And I know you don't want to hear what 3-loss team I'm talking about.
I think I know.
Yeah, but the Bama offense, they looked so bad against Auburn. They cannot run the ball, so they've been very one-dimensional. I think that's going to hurt them. And I think Kirby makes sure that this team cleans up the penalties, are much better on third down, and I think they're going to win. That also lets them secure a bye. So you'd have Texas Tech and Georgia sitting in 2 of those byes in that top 4 spot. So, I think Georgia with wins over Ole Miss and Texas, I think their resume is strong enough regardless of the outcome, but I think they're going to really want to take advantage of sending Alabama home. But what do you think on this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one, right? Another classic we've seen them battle already in the year, and with Bama coming out on top. For me, I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think it's going to be just an absolute short gain battle between both these. I don't think we're going to see any home runs or any 50+ yard touchdown passes or rushes. It's going to be a tight one for sure. I really do think Stockton's going to be able to make the smarter place between the two. I think Simpson's going to go a little bit too risky with some of his passes, and so I'm leaning Georgia on this one, especially because everyone I think in this conference wants to see Bama not in this college playoff, right? So there's a lot on the line. If I would have to pick, I'd pick Georgia covering 2.5, and I'd go under on the over under there. So that's my pick. But of course, as always, I usually just go to you and tail what you do.
Well, I think your head's in the right place there. The 2.5 seems like a great number. It's one of those things where it's just Vegas is begging you to take it. So I'm like, it's just
scary.
Just put it at 3. So I know there's some kind of doubt,
Yeah.
but no, I mean, I'll take the 2.5 if you're going to let me win by a field goal. But that's going to be a great one. And then that brings us to the first of 2 night games, but I think everyone in the country has been waiting for this one. That is the Big Ten Championship taking place in Indy. Number 2 Indiana versus number 1 Ohio State. The Buckeyes are 4-point favorites, over under 47.5. Now, Mac, I will let you take this one to start because I know we're both tied to this one through some familial ties, but I'm assuming I know which way you're going to go, but let it rip, dude. Hoosiers versus Buckeyes.
Yeah, I mean, and if anyone has been listening to this podcast, especially on the first episode, I was very clear when it comes to a lot of my bets aren't based on data. A lot of my bets aren't based on previous performances, based on rankings, based on what you're looking at on the board. It comes down to just, pure emotion and connection. And as I've said, my fiance is an Indiana Hoosier, alum of the Bloomington IU. And so, of course, I will be watching this game with her and some of her other IU friends that we all love and support. And so I will, of course, be rooting for the Hoosiers. So in this scenario, my wallet would love to bet on Ohio State, but it probably isn't, because I want to then be just as upset as they are if IU loses and just as happy as they are when they win. So I will be laying everything on the money line for the Hoosiers here, because we're going for an emotional roller coaster of a game. And why not? I mean, what a great story of this program. It's hard not to root for them. And I'm sick of Ohio State. So I'm going Hoosiers money line. Over under, not a damn clue. I'll tell whatever you do on that one. But that is my pick for the game.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting, because from a guy that lives and dies off of emotional hedges, you're just going to complete Uno reverse card and go all in on the pure emotional play for the Hoosiers. I love that.
We'll see what happens, actually. It comes there, depending on how we do prior.
Yeah. I mean, This game's going to be fantastic. I mean, it's going to be a slugfest if I had to, predict how this game's going to go down, which is funny because it's probably the battle of the Heismans, although Julian Sayin, quarterback of the Ohio State, has not been getting a ton of Heisman love as much as Fernando Mendoza has for the Hoosiers. But, I mean, what does the Heisman become? It's the best player on the best team, and that's typically a quarterback for the best team in the country. Julian Sayin, Fernando Mendoza, the winner of this game is going to be the number one team in the country. Sayin over 3,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Mendoza just over 2,700 yards, 32 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So they've both been phenomenal. They both obviously led their teams to undefeated records, one of which will come to an end this weekend. I think the Ohio State defense is something that Indiana has yet to see. I think it's going to cause problems for Mendoza. I think it's going to be a lot of ground and pound. See a lot of Bo Jackson for Ohio State this weekend. They avenged the Demons in Ann Arbor and the team up north, so they won the game. We talked about it last weekend, but they now have everything to play for, defending the title. They got the monkey off their back with the Michigan win. I like Ohio State to cover that 4 points, and I will tell you to go with the under because I think it's going to be a true Big Ten ground and pound, feel it out, rock fight, possession battle game, despite the firepower from both quarterbacks. But I think the Ohio State defense is going to be the unit to watch this weekend.
Yeah, no, that's going to be an exciting one. Definitely the one that everyone's going to be looking forward to for that night, because that same night we have to round out the championship Saturday is the ACC championship. Now, I'll be honest. I, of course, don't know the implications of this game as well as you do. So I wouldn't really be thinking there's much leg on this one at all, because we're seeing Duke playing at number 17, Virginia, where Virginia is -3 and the over-under is 57. So I'm assuming this is going to be a game to follow because there's probably some implications when it comes to the college football playoff. So tell me what's going on in this one.
Yeah, so this is the chaos scenario that I told everyone about a month ago or a month or so ago, maybe a couple weeks, I think it was 3 weeks ago when these two teams previously met. And that of which is Duke getting to the ACC championship game and winning the ACC championship game as a 5-loss team. They are not going to be one of the top 5 conference champions like I talked about at the beginning of the show. They simply will not be ranked higher than JMU, North Texas, if both of those teams win, or probably even the Mountain West champion, which we're not going to talk about that game, but be Boise State, UNLV. Shout out Dan Mullen and the UNLV Rebels. So go take UNLV. There's a free one for you. But if Virginia wins, they are in. That's a done deal. I think they'd be able to, justify taking one of those at-large bids, and that will get an ACC team in. Now, if Duke wins, I don't think the ACC gets anyone in. That doesn't help Miami. It will keep out the entire conference, which is hilarious. But I don't think chaos is going to happen, which sucks. Because I want it to, but we watched this game 3 weeks ago. The final score was 34-17. It doesn't tell the full story. I'll give it to you right now. It was 31-3 in the fourth quarter. Virginia, 4 sacks. They were a problem in the backfield all night long. They outgained Duke by 285 yards. In the last 6 games, Duke is 3-3. They've given up an average of 33 points a game to opponents. So unfortunately, I do not see chaos coming to fruition here. I think Virginia will win, which then causes issues for the JMU Dukes and North Texas. So we'll see which one of them can sneak in. One final note, I want to give some flowers to the Virginia Cavaliers, the Wahoos, if you will. 11-23 in the first 3 seasons under Tony Elliott. They've now obviously ripped off 11 wins this year. 10 wins, potentially soon to be 11. No one thought they would be here, so shout out to them. Want to give them their flowers. Tony Elliott, he's 21-25 as a head coach lifetime, could be 22-25 after this weekend, and they could very much be in the playoff. So, yeah.
That's exciting.
Could be very fun for them to continue the ride. But yeah, there's the close on college football.
Well, that, of course, takes us to the big boys. We are looking at the NFL slate for this upcoming week. And as always, we're going to start with the primetime games. So, felt it was suiting since our first game is tonight. And my Dallas Cowboys are going to be playing at the Detroit Lions, where the Lions are favored by -3 with an over-under of 54.5. Now, this is something that I am pretty surprised because I hate to say it, and it pains me to even touch on this, but we got to give some roses to the Cowboys here, specifically Jerry Jones, because after that clown made that trade, we got Quinn Williams. We're looking pretty good.
I told you this last week. I said he was one of the best GMs ever. He's killing it.
I still, if we win 3 Super Bowls in a row, maybe I then give him some credit. But, as I said, I still don't think the Cowboys will ever win a Super Bowl under Jerry Jones. But I'm not going to lie. We're seeing a force moving upward, going against a team going downward, and that team going downward is favored. So, I mean, you got some trends for me. I know you do. But if I'm just going to go with it, you know what? I'm going to back my boys. I'm going Cowboys money line, 100%. And over under, it's tough because we are starting to stop the run. And that's quite frankly all the Lions have, because I think Jared Goff is a bum. And I don't think he's going to be able to really, even if he has the lanes and the receivers open, he's not getting it to him. So if we can stop that rush, Steve, I think it's a cakewalk. So I'm going under at 54.5. Lions money line, locking that in because my boys are looking good.
Okay, well, just to be a little safe here, let's rewind there because you took the under and then took the Lions money line.
Oh, I thought I said Cowboys money line.
No, you said Lions.
But, God damn it.
Yeah, that's right, okay.
So, rewind. So yeah, I mean, for this game, it's a no-brainer. We are looking at the Cowboys money line, lock that in, and then we're going to be adding the under to that as well, because I think with our new rush defense, we are going to be stopping Jahmyr Gibbs and, David Montgomery. He's kind of been recently, but that's all they have. Just because Jared Goff is a clown, or a bum, I should say. He can't even hit the front side of a barn. So if they have to rely on him to win a game, say less. So Cowboys money line under, that's my pick for sure on this night's game.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. We're recording this Wednesday night, as we do. Amon-Ra St. Brown, questionable for the game. Obviously, he left last Thursday on Thanksgiving with that ankle, so not sure if he's going to be available. But this is very much a loser leaves town game. Lions at 7-5, Cowboys at 6-5 or 7-6-1. So nice. Yeah. Or 7-5-1, 7-5-1, right? Because they've had the bye week. Yeah. So both these teams on the outside looking in. If the Lions lose, they have a 20% chance to make the postseason. Now, if the Cowboys lose, they have only a 9% chance. I think that's largely in part to the schedule the rest of the way for both teams. But either way, odds go way down with a loss in this one. So I think it's going to be vital for both teams. And you touched on some trends. I got a few of them for you, one of which we've already used on this show a number of times, so I'll give it to you again because it hit the last time we did. Lions 11-0 straight up after a loss dating back to 2022, 4-0 straight up after a loss this season. Target the Lions money line if you like trends, but if you want to get a little active throughout the game, the first half over in Cowboys road games is 6-0 this year. And the line right now is 26.5 for the first half over. Now you're on the under, so I imagine you don't think that 26.5 number is going to come to fruition. But just giving you the data, I myself, I'm going to back the Lions at the 3 points. And it's dangerous, but it's solely because we do this thing that I don't know why, but we're crazy. We give you all of this data, all this information. We give you these picks, and then sometimes we don't even end up taking them. So
no, we don't.
I'm going to put a stamp of approval on this one, and I'll take the Lions to win the game because they are, as I said, 11-0 straight up after a loss since 2022 and 4-0 on the season after a loss. So, I will take the Lions.
All right, maybe we come up with a fun little competition for us because it's been a while since we've had one of those, and those are always electric. So that'll be fun to look forward to tonight or tomorrow night since we are recording. But Thursday night football is going to be fun, which then, of course, takes us to Sunday night football, where the Texans are playing the Chiefs, where the Chiefs are favored at 3.5 over under 44.5. Now, I think it's very safe to say we've been seeing it. This Texans defense is elite.
Ooh, so good.
And don't see a team that could potentially be able to unravel them. And especially because we haven't seen the Chiefs really look that good of recent weeks. And so the fact that the Chiefs are at -3.5 here with an over under of 44.5, I might just go run it back. That what I'm seeing here on Thursday night. I would be in this case taking the Texans to win this game. Now, I know it's the Chiefs. We want them in the, everyone wants them in the playoffs. That's where the money
Everyone
is.
want them in the playoffs?
Well, if you look at all the Taylor Swift fans, that probably outweighs every NFL fan in the world at this point. But I would say in this case, I'm backing the Texans. Over under, I actually would probably go over because although this Texans D is unreal, we can't just put Patrick Mahomes aside, right? They do find ways to put points on the board regardless of who they're playing. I do think it's going to be a very close game, but I would go over and Texans to actually squeak this one out.
Yeah, I mean, this one's interesting because, yes, the Texans defense looks unbelievable right now. I mean, that's probably the best unit in the NFL, maybe outside of the Patriots, special teams when they get to play the Giants. But yeah, I'm just so tired of watching this Chiefs team. They're not good. They're not fun. It's not entertaining. Like, I mean, yes, they do have Patrick Mahomes. He's phenomenal. That's obviously apparent. But yeah, they're just it's not a fun product to watch right now. Very similar to a team we're going to talk about right after this. But my dumb brain says they simply can't lose this game because they have to win out. So take the Chiefs at home in prime time. Arrowhead, crazy, cold. Texas playing a dome. CJ Stroud, second game back. That's my analysis. I'll take the Chiefs. But yeah, this game's could be quite messy. I'll say that.
Yeah. Well, then a potential competition on our hands yet again for another prime time. Stay tuned what we come up with. But that then leads us to our final prime time night game of Monday Night Football, where the Eagles are favored at -3 playing at the Chargers in LA with an over-under of 40.5. Now, I know Herbert got banged up on his non-throwing hand in that last game. Came back, though. Was able to he didn't look too bad, but if I'm not mistaken, Jack, I think did he already get surgery on that?
Yeah. He already had
Crazy.
the surgery. You're right. It is the non-throwing hand. So they say he's going to play, but they also said he probably can't go under center, which is very much how that team operates because they're a very run forward, play action team. So that kind of adds an element that maybe you don't want to have if you're the Chargers. But I mean, I just talked about a product that I don't like watching. Boy, the Philadelphia Eagles, that offense is abysmal. And I really don't care to watch them play. Kevin Patullo, the offensive coordinator there. I mean, everyone in Philly or anyone that follows the team probably is not a fan of his. But that's what happens when you lose a guy like Kellen Moore, offensive mind. But yeah, I don't. This game is again. It's gonna be gross. I feel like it's gonna be hard to take the Chargers because I think Philly's the better team, but I don't think they're the better team right now. But Herbert banged up. I don't. It's a hard one to read. I just haven't been impressed with what I've seen from Philadelphia. I think they're 8-3. So it's like we talk about how the sky is falling, but they're still one of the top teams in the NFC. So I don't know. I'm going to take the Chargers just out of, why not? I like Ladd. I like Kamani Vidal. Oronde Gadsden's made us some money this year. And it might just be because I have Ladd McConkey on a couple fantasy teams in the playoffs and I want to see old Ladd do it for the boys. Maybe.
There you go.
Know.
There you go.
With some whiz.
I mean, yeah. I for me, this is the perfect example of an emotional hedge. And so I will be laying all my units down on the Eagles because I would love nothing more to see the Eagles lose. And if the Cowboys win Thursday night, I mean, we got a shot. We got a shot at the NFC East at that point potentially, right? So I'm going to be betting the Eagles purely on an emotional hedge. So for a win-win scenario in that point, over under, I don't even know. Maybe probably under a banged up Herbert and an abysmal Eagles offense. That screams under to me there. So even at 40.5, I'd probably lean towards that.
Yeah, so this is fun. Maybe we have to maybe we have to just do a 3-leg parlay against each other because for the first time ever, I think we went all 3 completely different picks in the primetime game. So that's fun. Who knows? Maybe keep an eye out for the social for that.
Yeah, that could be juicy.
But there are some good games in the NFL. There are a couple stinkers that I'm going to give everyone some special plays on at the end here. But yeah, not a really fun slate. The other games of note here that we can touch on quickly, Bengals at Bills, Buffalo -5.5, over under 53.5. Buffalo Bills seem to find their stride against the Steelers. I mean, they dominated them. Not that the Pittsburgh Steelers are, the cream of the crop either, but I think they're going to show out. They've obviously have lost a ton of ground to the Patriots in the AFC, but they do have a matchup with them coming next weekend, looking to get a little revenge after New England went to Buffalo and won that game on Sunday Night Football. And then the Bengals, Joe Burrow came back, told you to take a little sprinkle on the Bengals, and that team might not be terrible with Joe Burrow, but I mean, clearly, obviously, it makes a difference to have Joe Burrow versus Joe Flacco. But the Ravens also banged up. Hey, credit to us. We said get off the train, so hopefully you did. Anything of note on this one? I think the Bills probably win this one, but 53.5. I love the over in this game. I think there's going to be a ton of points.
Yeah, no, over is the only thing that I'm really confident in on this one. I mean, I understand that Bengals Ravens game. We were kind of all over that. We knew the Bengals were going to be coming in hot, and part of me kind of thinks they're going to do it again because we've had one too many situations where we've backed the Bills and they let us down, and so I just kind of have this feeling that, I mean, look, there's not a world where the Bengals can make the playoffs, right? Or
theoretically, they are not eliminated. Yes, they would need to win out and they need some help, but
yeah. So I mean, I don't think it's as if they're playing for a playoff spot here, but at the same time, like Joe Burrow's a competitor, so he looks like he's back. He had a hell of a game last week. I could see him doing it again. So I may even be leaning towards. I don't know if I do Bengals money line, but I potentially might even do Bengals just to cover the spread, even at 5.5 there. So it's more so just scar tissue because the Bills, they do look like they are back, but there's been so many times where I've said they're back, we're laying the hammer down, and they let us down. So we'll see. That's going to be a game time decision coming Sunday. But another game to note too is we're looking at, and this one's pretty exciting too because there's a lot of impact on this for rankings, for where they stand within the conference itself. But Colts -1.5 over at Jacksonville with the Jaguars, and an over under of 47.5. I mean, I don't. It's wild to me that Danny Dimes is even still playing. I mean, we've seen video of him in warmups and let alone watching him in the games. The guy can barely even stand, let alone walk, if not run. So, like, I don't know how he's even under center to this point, but it's that crazy of a line. I mean, this is a pick 'em, right? So,
yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I'm curious what you're leaning towards because I feel like the Jags have been a little bit more hot, Colts have been a little bit more cold. So, tough one to read here.
Yeah, I mean, well, told you last week, take Texans over the Colts. Everyone loved Indy in that one, but we said no, take Houston. So yeah, I was always the Colts are frauds scenario. I think that you're talking about a team trending downward earlier. I think this is a team in almost free fall. Yeah, quarterback's got a broken leg. Like they're and Anthony Richardson's waiting in the wings potentially. Like, yeah, that doesn't bode well for my confidence in that team. So yeah, I'll take the Jags at home. They've been a tough team to play against at home. Liam Cohen has been awesome in the first year with the Jags there, and I mean both teams are sitting at 8-4 right now. I feel like Indy was 7-0 at one point, so they're in a lot of trouble as of late. And the Jags won I think they won 4 out of 5 games in the month of November, and
Yeah.
the only one they lost was that like fluky game against the Texans that they just kind of gave away towards the end there. And I mean, we know how good the Texans are right now as they're climbing up the standings here as well in the AFC South. So, yeah, I think I'll back the Jags here. The over under at 47.5. It's stinky. It's a number that makes me want to go over, but I actually I'd lean under. I think that Jags defense is opportunistic, and they probably turn the ball over or get a couple turnovers, I should say, for Danny Dimes and the Colts. So I'll take the Jags, but yeah, we'll see. That's a fun one for divisional standings. Another divisional game for a battle for first place. We got the Bears at the Packers. Packers -6.5, over under 44.5. The NFC leading Bears, I should say, which this is one of my favorite stats, and I know it's been buzzing all around, so I'm sure people have probably seen it or heard it. But they have a 72% chance to make the postseason right now, which is currently the lowest of all NFC playoff teams as it stands, and they're sitting atop the conference. So, yeah. Not sure what you want to make of that. Again, I think that's a schedule thing, or maybe it's a little, lack of trust in Caleb Williams. I don't know. But Bears, Packers got to win by a touchdown to cover. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, this has been our conversation with the Bears every single week, right? We've been waiting for the shoe to drop, and it just isn't dropping. And so, knowing this is, of course, the biggest rivalry game in this conference or in this division in itself, right? These teams hate each other, and it's tough, right? I just every time I keep saying and wanting to fade the Bears because I'm ready for them to fall off the face of the earth, they're squeaking it out. So low key at 6.5, I mean, maybe I take Bears straight up money line, but covering 6.5, I feel very confident on. I mean, yeah, Caleb Williams isn't an MVP caliber quarterback that we've seen, but Ben Johnson is a coach of the year candidate. I mean, I think what he's doing right now with the Bears is incredible. We already know his talent coming from Detroit, but what an exciting time to be a Chicago Bears fan. I mean, all my buddies that I know from Chicago when I used to live there, it's been one of the most exciting years for them, and I'm happy for them, but I'm going to go Bears covering at least. I may even go money line.
Plus 270 on that money line if you want to ride the Bears.
I'm going to go Bears money line because that just is what I love to hear.
Yeah, well, maybe pump the brakes on the Ben Johnson Coach of the Year thing. I think there's a guy in New England that might have a say about that.
Yeah.
But they're off this week on the bye, finally. Well-deserved. Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see Darnell Wright, offensive lineman for the Bears left tackle there versus Micah Parsons. They move Parsons around, but I do think that matchup will come on a number of occasions on Sunday afternoon. But yeah, I mean, the Packers offense hasn't looked great either. We've talked about some teams that are sputtering right now. Their defensive unit has sharpened up a bit, so I'll give them some credit there. But I don't hate the Bears to cover, and I think they're a lively dog. And at that plus 270 number, that might be too hard to pass up.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I think I saw this stat recently that Caleb Williams is like the number 1 rated quarterback for avoiding sacks or something in that regard, that he doesn't go down. We know
that's his game. I don't know that stat, but I'd be totally okay agreeing with you on that number. So yeah.
Well, it's just going to be interesting because we're going to see a Micah Parsons led Packers defense that's going to be trying to take his head off. So it would be, I'm curious if we're going to see him go down a ton or if he's going to be able to evade that. So that will be a fun one. I'm actually looking forward to just watching that in itself.
Yeah, that'll be a good game to save the afternoon because lots of tough ones around the NFL, which brings me to my gross game of the week. This is where the true fans, really come out to play, and that is the Tennessee Titans at the Cleveland Browns. Brownies -4.5, over under 33.5. We have an Iowa football game taking place in Ohio this weekend. I think just out of pure hilarity, I am going to take the Browns at -4.5 and the under because Myles Garrett chasing that 25 sack record. Shador. Yeah, I mean, what did you see the end of that game? Fourth and like 25, 4th and 26. And I mean, they were down by a boatload, so it didn't matter, but taking off and running and then sliding after 5 yards.
Yeah,
I mean,
I can go on a tangent that we do not have time for, but
no,
I the 4.5 I like, the under 33.5.
that's just pure sport, baby. That's just pure sport.
Oh man, I mean that line though at plus 286, if you parlay both of those together, is pretty enticing. So be on the lookout for those.
Money line with it. Woohoo!
Oh my god, dude!
But yeah, that game. Oh, tough for all the Browns fans in the Muni lot that are gonna sit through that one. I don't know what the weather looks like in Cleveland, but I imagine it's cold. I imagine it's windy, and that game's gonna be brutal. But
yeah.
I'll leave you with one more thing here. You know, I love a good stat. I love a good trend. Not a game that we need to talk about at all, but it involves a tasty one for you. Saints Buccaneers in Tampa. Teams are 6-0 against the spread in the first quarter when hosting the Saints. That team stinks. Doesn't get off to a hot start on the road. The Bucs offense, they got Chris Godwin back. They got Bucky Irving back. Baker's a little banged up, but he's a dog, so he's playing through it. And the spread on the first quarter right now is just -0.5 point. So all the Bucs need to do is come out 1 point positive in that one in the first quarter. So yeah, that's one I'm going to be targeting. Get some coin early in that 1:00 slate. But yeah, don't really care to watch most of that game. But the first quarter, I will tune in because I will be taking Bucs -0.5 point in the first quarter.
I'm curious if you can buy points on a first quarter spread.
I have absolutely no idea if you can, but you don't need to. The trend is 6-0. So take the Bucs -0.5 point.
Love it. That wraps us up for episode 9 here at the Cover Story. We went a little bit longer than normal, but again, big college football weekend that we wanted to touch on. So very excited about that. Thank you all for tuning in. Jack, any last thoughts?
No, just excited. This is an awesome week. Thank you for everyone to listen. Thank you for tuning in on the YouTube. I hope you enjoyed my wonderful Christmas tree in the background here. Follow us on socials. You'll get all of our picks that are free. And if you want the real money winners, the big time plays, the juicy parlays, you got to go sign up for the Cover Crew. Couple spots left. They may even be gone by the time this airs in that founding member special. But grab your spot. Get in on the Discord. Be sure to be locked in for all those live bets. That's where we're making some cash, like Max said. But yeah, excited for this weekend. Thank you all for listening. As always, tail responsibly, fade if you dare.